Imagine a small child walking into a classroom. On their back is a backpack, but instead of books or lunch, it is filled with rocks. Heavy, jagged rocks. To everyone else, the child looks normal. They don't drag the bag. They don't complain about the straps digging into their shoulders. In fact, they stand up straighter than the other kids, just to hide the weight. They smile, so no one asks what is inside. If you grew up too fast, you didn't just carry that backpack for a day. You have been carrying it for 20 years. And the reason you are so tired right now isn't because of your job or your schedule. It is because you never learned how to put it down. Number 1. There is a specific kind of memory that often haunts adults who were forced to mature early. It feels less like a childhood moment and more like a job interview. You might remember being 6 years old, sitting very still, trying to predict the mood of the room before you even walked into it. You weren't thinking about toys or games. You were calculating how to be low maintenance. You were figuring out how to fix a problem you didn't create. This isn't just being a good kid. It is a survival strategy. When we see a child acting with the seriousness of a 40-year-old accountant, society often applauds them. We call them old souls. We praise their maturity. But if you are watching this, you know the truth behind that composure. It wasn't a gift. It was a necessity. Number 2, in developmental psychology, we often talk about the concept of a secure base. Ideally, a parent is a solid platform from which a child can launch out to explore the world, knowing they can return for safety. But for the child who grows up too fast, that base feels shaky. Instead of the parent being the anchor, the child becomes the anchor for the parent. You might hear this referred to as pseudo-maturity. It looks like competence on the outside. You were likely the one who remembered where the keys were, the one who mediated arguments, or the one who knew exactly when to stay quiet to avoid triggering a meltdown. This isn't just about doing chores. It is about emotional vigilance. You learned that your safety depended on your ability to manage the emotional climate of your home. You skipped the messy, loud, chaotic phase of childhood because there simply wasn't enough room in the house for 2 people to be messy, and the adults had already claimed that space. Number 3. Psychologists have a term for this role reversal: parentification. It was identified decades ago by family systems researchers like Bosormenyi Nagy, who looked at the hidden ledgers of family loyalty. It generally happens in 2 ways. First, there is practical parentification. This is the tangible stuff. Maybe you paid bills, cooked meals for siblings, or translated legal documents for your parents when you were 10. It is heavy, but it is visible. The second type is trickier. It is emotional parentification. This is when a child becomes the confidant or the therapist. If a parent vented to you about their marriage, or if you felt responsible for cheering up a depressed caregiver, you were carrying an emotional load that your developing brain wasn't built for. You became a container for adult anxieties. The stick figure of your childhood self was asked to hold up a boulder twice its size. You managed to hold it, yes, but you couldn't move, and you certainly couldn't play. Number 4. The immediate result of this dynamic is something the psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott called the false self. To survive, you had to suppress your actual needs. Being needy, loud, or demanding felt dangerous. If you had a bad day, you likely hid it, because adding your stress to the family pile felt selfish. You learned to silence your own internal signals. Hunger, tiredness, and sadness were just inconveniences to be ignored, so you could focus on the task at hand. You became an expert at reading other people's micro-expressions while completely losing touch with your own. It is a profound form of self-abandonment. You buried the child who wanted to throw a tantrum deep inside a mental basement, locked the door, and went back upstairs to make sure everyone else was okay. Number 5. Fast forward 20 years. That hyper-capable child is now an adult. On the surface, you probably look like you have it all together. You are likely the friend everyone calls in a crisis because you stay calm when the building is on fire. But this comes with a cost, a hyper-independence. You might find it physically painful to ask for help. In your brain's wiring, needing help is associated with danger or rejection. Research in attachment theory suggests that when we don't receive comfort consistently as children, we stop signaling for it. We go it alone. You might also feel a constant, low-level anxiety that feels like a ticking clock. If you aren't being productive, fixing something, or helping someone, you feel useless. You might struggle to relax because relaxation feels like negligence. You are still waiting for the other shoe to drop, just like you did when you were 7. Number 6. Here is the reality that often goes unspoken. Underneath the competence and underneath the success, there is a deep, exhausted grief. It is the grief of the unlived life. There is a version of you, a small stick figure version, that is still waiting to be irresponsible. That part of you wants to make a mistake without fixing it. It wants to be held without having to earn it. The fatigue you feel isn't just about your current job or your current stress. It is the accumulations of decades of holding that invisible backpack. You are tired because you have been working a full-time emotional job since you were in elementary school. It is valid to mourn the childhood you didn't get, even if you are proud of the resilient adult you became. Number 7. Healing from this doesn't mean you have to destroy the person you are. Your resilience, your empathy, and your capability are real strengths, but we need to update the software. You are no longer in that unsafe environment. The emergency is over. You can slowly start to grant yourself the permission you never got back then. You can practice unparenting yourself. This means allowing yourself to be bad at things. It means letting the laundry pile up for a day without panicking. It means telling a friend, "I'm having a hard time," and actually letting them help you. You grew up fast to survive, but you don't have to keep running at that speed anymore. You have earned the right to put the backpack down. You have earned the right to just be